Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dallas. Welcome to Gourmet Catalog's member meeting. So sorry that I am not there in person. Super grateful to Janice and the team for pivoting and being able to get this presentation to you virtually. We're going to do a live Q&A after the video. We're going to test that later today. And if we don't get to a live video or if some technology interferes with that, I'm going to take all your questions, answer them all. Dan@thewealthyretailer.com. I will say there's also a white paper to this presentation over at thewealthyretailer.com. Under the heading Wealthy Retailer, you'll see 12 for 22, and that is the white paper for this presentation. Again, my name is Dan Holman. I'll give you a little bit of background. I am the CEO with Canadian Retail Solutions. We are a retail operations provider or partner in Canada and the US to independent retailers, independent and some corporate retail. We've been in business for about 30 years. I'm also the founder of The Wealthy Retailer, which is a boutique consulting firm that really focuses on the health and the well-being of the independent retailer. And that perhaps is where perhaps this presentation maybe comes from. So we're going to walk through what I believe are the 12 steps to a prosperous 2022. We had originally labeled this the 12 steps to the next level, to moving your business to the next level post-pandemic, but obviously still dealing with a bit of a pandemic here as we roll through January or get started in January 22. So these 12 steps are really the things that you need to check off and become experts in as we move through 2022. This is how you'll find a more prosperous 22 for your business. And so for everything, I lean hard on my core values, my guiding principles. They are becoming wealthy in retail. I want to achieve retail wealth. And for me, wealth is an acronym that defines our objectives, our output, and our performance. It starts with winning. Winning means that we keep score. We're in this game of retail and we keep score. We keep score to know when we're on track or off track. We set out to create wins for our external and internal customers. External, those that pay with their credit card. Internal, staff that pay with time. Our partners and ourselves. We create wins. Win, win, win. It's a game. We got to keep score. How do you know when you're winning? You look at the scoreboard. I'm up 2 goals on these guys. I'm winning. Energized. E is about energetic. We are energetic in the pursuit of our vision. On the floor, on our team, in our lives, we are energized. And to the degree you are energized in your store, your customer is going to feel that energy and respond positively, not negatively. Admired, we believe in the power of admiration. We want to be admired by our team, our peers, our partners, our customers, and our community. There's never been a better time to be admired by your community. The last 18, 20 months, 24 months almost, has seen massive attention paid on the shop local, on support your local. And that means being admired in your community. And to be admired means that you will do things that are admirable in retail. Let's be famous. Let's be admired. Lean. Oh, lean. Not lean like the fat guy on the screen, but lean. We employ this belief in being lean in everything we do. Lean in inventory, lean in expense, lean enabling us to be nimble and adapt quickly to the changing landscape. There is change amongst us. The only constant in retail is change. And to the degree that we're lean, we're able to pivot. We're able to dip, dive, dodge, and duck. All of the things that come at us in indie retail. T is for tenacious. We are tenacious. We treat setbacks like anomalies. We get knocked down and we get back up again. It's a song, I think, by Chumbawamba. We get knocked down, we get back up again. That's what we have to be in retail. We've got to be tenacious. We've got to practice tenacity in pursuit of our vision. Be tenacious. Treat setbacks like they are anomalies. And then my last core value is happiness. Happiness is the essential ingredient of all successes. And we must first find happiness before we will be successful. Find happy moments every day and build from them. Happiness, defined as a feeling of success, or pardon me, as defined as a feeling of satisfaction and contentment. Find happiness, find success, find satisfaction, find contentment in things you're doing every day and build from there. Focus on the positive, not the negative. All right, let's go on to the 12 steps. So why did I build a 12-step program? Actually, I love building 12-step programs. I am of the belief that if you're in retail, a 12-step program might be right for you. And so we build these 12 steps. And I'm going to say again, there's a white paper that documents each of the 12 steps. Maybe you can download it. Head over to thewealthyretailer.com, 12 for 22. Download the white paper, follow along, check it off. There's notes there. And really what we want you to do is become a master in each of these 12 steps, a master. Get 80% of the way there. The last 20 will come easily. Let's be a master. And we start with step number 1, building a good vision. And one of the biggest misses I see in working with retailers today is a lack of vision. They're very focused, perhaps too focused on immediate consequence rather than the big picture, where they're headed. I like to think about vision like this. I place a dot on the map or a pin in the map, and then I start to plan, strategize, and execute to get to that dot in a specific amount of time. And vision building in retail, or vision building and planning in retail, is just as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. Put your dot on the map and then look forward to when you're going to achieve that. It could be 5 or 10 years. And as we start to answer some questions below, we're going to say that, hey, a 10-year goal, is great. And now let's start to work backwards from that dot on the map 10 years from now to 3 years, 1 year, and the next 90 days. Meaning that if that's where I'm going to be in 10 years, how far along this path do I need to be in 3 years? And if I'm going to be there in 3, where will I be a year from now? And if I'm going to get there a year from now, what do I need to do in the next 90 days? Wow. I believe that the best vision or vision plan for an independent retailer begins with where they see themselves personally. You have to ask yourself, what are your needs from the business? What do you desire to get out of the business? While I'm this huge proponent of the EOS model by Gino Wickman, EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, whenever I engage with a retailer, I lean hard on the tools contained in EOS and I teach them how to use those tools. But I always start with what you want to accomplish: tuition, vacation, a new car, a new boat, a new house, a second house, or maybe even better defined as financial freedom. The independent retailer has to be the main benefactor or the model doesn't work. You have to have benefit at the end of the vision or the juice is not worth the squeeze. So let's go back to this EOS model by Gino Wickman. The EOS model that's created, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, you can learn more at eosworldwide.com. The Entrepreneurial Operating System in building vision asks us to answer these 8 questions. What are your core values, your guiding principles? What is your core focus? What do you do? What is your BHAG? Who is your target market? What are your 3 uniques? What's different about you than your competition? Don't say better customer service. That's permission to play. Come up with your 3 uniques. What is your proven process? Proven process. What is the Gourmet Catalog way? What is the wealthy retailer way of doing business? That's your proven process. It's the measure of where you've had success in the past. Number 7, what is your guarantee? What do you guarantee your audience? What is it? Write it down. It becomes part of your vision. Mine, pretty simple. If you're not happy, I'm not happy. I've got to do more. If you're not happy, I've got to do more for you. You need to be happy. You need to be an ambassador for me. That's my guarantee. Make yours that simple. We'll come back to talk a little bit more about policy and procedure, perhaps a little bit later on in the presentation. And then finally, the eighth question is, what is your, I think that says who is your, should say, what is your 3-year picture. You know, it doesn't matter how many times you proofread a presentation. I don't think it matters how many times you ask someone else to proofread it. There's always going to be one thing, and this is one of them. You know, when we talk about, you know, it's what is your 3-year picture? And now start to define what that 3-year picture looks like. Throw some measurables on it. What is my revenue? What's my profitability? How big is my store? How big are my categories? What categories do I carry, expand? Start to document what that 3-year picture looks like. Paint the picture of what your store looks like, right? Start answering questions. Start answering these questions specifically, and your vision plan and its achievability will come much, much easier. Okay, step number 2 is retail education. And education without application is just entertainment. So says Tim Sanders. Tim Sanders is a sales trainer, great sales trainer. If you haven't seen him, Google him, Tim Sanders, and you'll hear his philosophy on education without application is just entertainment. And I'm going to say that education or professional development has to be part of your ongoing strategy. The world of retail, the world of technology, and most importantly, your customer habits are changing so quickly. You have to allow outside knowledge to enlighten you, to expand your retail prowess. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not looking for something that enhances my knowledge, that delivers some level of professional development. And people ask me over and over and over again, Dan, well, how much should I spend on it? And there's no simple answer on how much to budget for professional development. I'm going to say that it's like every other expense in your business. It has to be measured, benchmarked, and deliver a greater than 100% return. No matter what it is, it's got to deliver a greater than 100% return on your investment. And I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to move on to step number 3. We spent so much time consuming information, gaining or broadening our knowledge, especially in the last, almost 2 years. Every single retailer I know has looked for self-help or self-improvement opportunities to get healthier. And you pay for that education. I mean, you're either paying for it with cash or time, your most valuable resource. And you should ask yourself this, am I monetizing that education, or is it simply entertainment? All right, step number 3, your biggest asset. Your biggest asset will always be the right people in the right seats. And one of the most challenging aspects in hiring the right people in retail, boy, oh boy, man, did 2021 take that age-old challenge to a new level. The retailers that have and continue to have success with their teams know with capital letters, know and understand the importance of the right people in the right seat, the right people doing the right things to move you forward, to move us forward in achieving your vision. And this often happens by us hiring above us, hiring better, not below, not weaker, right? Hiring above us means that we hire based on core values, but we hire people that are better than we are, people that we learn from more than we can teach. Here's 5 key takeaways for building and maintaining a winning team. Number 1, most important, hire based on your foundational or core values, these values that guide someone's intentions, actions, and performance on your floor. Think about, my guiding principles for retail wealth. I want to surround myself with people that want to win the game. I want to be surrounded by energetic people. I want to be surrounded by people that are admired, that long to be admired. I want to be around people that say in 3 instead of 10, that practice this philosophy of being lean. I want to be around people that are tenacious, that are happy to walk alongside me in the pursuit of vision, my vision. And I want happy people around me. Hell, I feel like I'm a bit of a happy guy, and I want to be surrounded by happiness. I hire based on those values, and I reward, I attract, I repel, I terminate, I reprimand, all based on values, not on result. Result is consequence of values and action, or intention, action, and performance. Okay, number 2, you've got to be a good parent. A good parent means that you have a small handful set of rules, and you repeat yourself often. Sorry, I forgot to advance the slide there. A good parent means that you've got this small handful set of rules and you repeat yourself over and over and over again, never saying, how many times do I have to tell you? That's not necessary. You just keep saying it. To the degree you keep saying it, they will hear you. The other thing that is one of the most admirable qualities in a good parent is listening as much as you speak. You want to build a winning team? Listen as much as you speak. Be a great coach. Systems define outcomes, and you've got to coach systems in your store that support your philosophical approach to success. Be a good coach. Coaches are where? Coaches are in the game. On the sideline, maybe, but they're in the game. They are impacting the outcome of the game. Be a great coach. 1 through 4. Number 4, inspire, encourage, and incentivize your team to deliver on your vision. Inspire them, encourage them, and then pay them to deliver on your vision. And then lastly, you've got to inspect what you expect. One of the misses that we're often going to find with our people is they didn't know what was expected. You've got to make those expectations smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Be specific about what you expect. Make sure that your expectation has measurement. Make sure that it is achievable. Don't set unrealistic expectations on your team. Make sure they're achievable. Make sure that the expectation is relevant to moving the business forward. And then T, make them time bound. Set your expectation and make sure that it's time bound. Be smart with your expectations. We'll pause for some questions, and then we're going to move on to step number 4, marketing versus influencing. And Seth Godin, you've probably heard him say this: people do not buy goods and services, they buy relations, stories, and magic. And this is probably a pretty good topic today, as in 2020 and 21 saw a significant shift in the way retailers are marketing to their audiences. This adaptation from marketer to influencer is another critical component to growing your audience and your market share. We've seen stores that have moved from social selling, primarily on Facebook early in the pandemic, to now full-blown influencing buying decisions in store and online through multiple channels, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube, Google. I mean, the influencing ability that's in front of us today is crazy strong. And another question that I get asked, or maybe even a bit of pushback. We talked about this topic on the Wealthy Retailer podcast a few weeks ago. A retailer said, "Well, isn't an influencer a marketer? And aren't they the same?" And the simple answer is yes, but I want you to think about it like this. At a fundamental level, influencer marketing is social media marketing that uses endorsements and product mentions from individuals who have a dedicated social following and are viewed as experts within their niche. Doesn't this describe you today? If it doesn't describe you, why not? Why doesn't it describe you? Right? Do you have a dedicated social following? Are you building your audience? Are you using the same channels that she uses? The latter question, probably the most important. If you know your audience, you know where and how to speak to her. And I'm going to say this: your audience is not 9 to 90, and too many retailers are misguided in their belief on my customer's 9 to 90 years old. I'm not everything to all people. 6 out of 10 customers that walk through your store fit into the same 3-sided box. They're the same geographic or from the same geographical area. Geographical area can be defined now, not necessarily, she comes within a 6-mile radius of my store. It is that she is in a local neighborhood. She's in this type of an area. That's the geographic. The demographic is the income brackets, perhaps. And then psychographic is the who she is, right? Think about the geodemo and psychographic of your customer. Your success in marketing and influencing her is solely dependent on how well you know her. And I'm going to say this lastly on the influencing thing. Follow influencers on Instagram that are peddling their wares. They are not experts the way that you are. You truly can be an influencer. And I'm going to say, obtaining retail wealth in 2022, moving your business to a more prosperous 2022 will happen based on your ability to transition from being a marketer to an influencer. You might even already be an influencer and not know it. All right, if you've got questions about being that influencer, fire away. Dan@thewealthyretailer.com, or we'll hit them up in the live chat. All right, step number 5, customer experience is everything. All right, customer experience is everything. Our customers' expectations have changed over the last 21, 22, 24 months, and they're going to continue to change as we move forward and learn to live in this pandemic-ridden world that we're in. I would have said post-pandemic by now. I would have thought that. I thought the same thing a year ago. But hey, I'm not a prophet, I guess. We're going to live within this pandemic, and her habits will continue to change as our world shifts and adapts and adjusts and evolves. Really, what we're seeing is forced evolution, and she will evolve as a buyer. And the only real constant will ever be her experience outweighs expense. Experience always outweighs expense. And let me clarify what I mean by this. Her experience in stores, physically or digitally, is far more important to her than the price she is paying. You're an independent retailer. You have to believe in the power of experience over price. This is about experience. Here's 5 rules for a better customer experience. Create a comfortable space. My, oh my. You've got to have a shoppable space, both in-store and in-line. And that means a properly assorted store that's displaying products that allow complementary items to be showcased, to be sold, right? Build more lifestyle presentations that enhance experience. Number 2, you've got to see the store through her eyes. How do we do this? Well, we walk through the front door. We walk in the front door of our store. Deep breath, close your eyes and pause for a second. Then open your eyes and see what she sees. Hear what she hears. Smell what she smells. You've got to see your store through her eyes. What is she seeing? What is she hearing? What is she smelling is what you want. All right, number 3, you've got to create a loyalty program, a meaningful loyalty program that gives before you get. Don't live in the Subway world where you got to buy 10 to get the 11th free. That's her giving before she gets. I want you to come up with a way to give to your loyal customer before you get something. Know your repeat. I know that's going to create some questions. So I will say this in advance of answering some questions. If you're not already following the Wealthy Retailer podcast, if you listen to podcasts, catch the Wealthy Retailer podcast. I believe 2 weeks from today is a whole segment on customer loyalty. Create a loyalty program that's meaningful, that gives something before you get something. That will also speak to step number 4 in a better customer experience, and that's knowing your repeat customers. You got to know your repeat customers, and you've got to celebrate them. You got to know who they are, and you've got to celebrate them. Depending on the size of your store, know your top 10, know them by name, know them by brand, know them by the products that they like, know them by their husbands, their wives, their children. Know your top customers and celebrate them. They are the diamonds that exist in your backyard. And then number 5, thank you, thank you, thank you. These still remain the most underused or insincere words in retail, and you need to fix that. What do I mean by this? Here we are coming off the holiday shopping season. How many stores did you have an opportunity to go in where someone said thank you without even looking at you? That it just became, it's almost like someone saying, Merry Christmas. It's habitual. Is it meaningful? Is it meaningful in your store? Are your staff, are your teams, are you truly thankful for your customer support? If you are, you've got to demonstrate that and not say, thank you from 10 feet away. Not say thank you with your head down at the till. Here's your bag. Thank you. That's not meaningful. That's insincere. Mean it. Understand. Allow your staff, lead your staff to understand why they should be thankful that customers in your store, physically or digitally. Be thankful and mean it. All right. Step number 6. I talked a little bit about this earlier, and it's really systems define outcomes. And I'm going to talk specifically about a selling system. And one of the most broken aspects in retail today is a lack of system. This recognition that systems define outcomes is almost non-existent. And more specifically, a customer-driven selling system. And your store has to have a well-defined, well-documented system for serving your guests. And this allows everybody, not just allows, it inspires them to deliver an equal and specified level of service to every single guest that walks through your door, no matter who serves them or how they present themselves. I'm also going to say it's just as important to know that not every customer in your store today is ready to buy. Some of them are still in the exploring phase, and your system needs to identify this and then adapt accordingly. Always remember, your first objective with every single person that enters your store is to create an ambassador, not a customer. Let me repeat myself. Create an ambassador, not a customer. An ambassador, somebody that raves about my store, someone that shares the message about my store. If my intention is to create an ambassador, not a customer, I focus on them and their experience instead of me and my sale. Right? Your selling system, as you roll through it, should contain the 5 key components to sales success. And I mean sales success for her, not for you. Those 5 are greeting and engaging, how you greet and engage your audience, understanding her needs, presenting total solutions to those needs, handling objections, and closing sales. You've got to close the sale. You've got to ask for the sale every single time. All right, step number 7. Let's talk a little bit more about sales. Your sales volume is consequential. It's consequential. Too many retailers either misunderstand or simply don't know how to attack sales goals and growth. Additionally, we exert energy focusing on the wrong numbers. Sales volume is made up of 3 significant metrics in your store or measurements in your store. Traffic, the number of people that walk through the front door. Conversion, how many people buy from you. And average sale, how much they buy. Now, let's go back. Traffic is the number of people that walk through your store, not the number of customers. Remember, my first objective is to create an ambassador of everybody that steps foot in my store. That includes the mailman, the FedEx guy, the dog walker, the window cleaner, the staff. Every single one of them are an opportunity for me, and I count them all equally. So traffic times conversion times average sale equals your sales volume, right? Multiply these measurements and you get your daily sales. Let's do this little exercise. Let's take traffic of 10. I'm going to have 10 people walk through my store today. 3 of them are going to buy from me. That's 30%. And they're each going to buy $50, or the average sale will be $50. So 10 times 30% times 50 is $150 in total sales. Now, to the degree you focus energy on coaching and training on each of these components, most importantly, conversion and average sale, you will improve your sales volume, right? I said 10 times 30 times $50 is 150 bucks in sales. Now go and improve your average sale by just 10%. Get it to 55. Take the same number of customers times the same conversion, 10 times 30% times $55 in average sale. Your sales just went to 165. Same number of customers, same number of closed sales, higher average sale. Take this math back to your business. Apply small improvements in improving your traffic, driving more people to your stores. Work harder on your selling system. Develop and deploy a selling system that improves conversion, that converts more shoppers to buyers, and improve average sale by focusing on total solutions. Focus energy on coaching and training, conversion and average sale. You'll improve sales. You can set realistic sales goals that you can achieve. These three measurements need to be on your weekly scorecard. What's my traffic? What's my conversion? And what's my average sale? All right, step number 8. Let's talk about inventory. Let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's talk about inventory. Inventory is your biggest asset and your greatest liability. The more inventory a company has, the less likely they will have what they need. So this little, I don't know, I guess I call it a meme. I just did a Tupperware inventory, 17 round containers and 2 square lids. The wrong inventory in the right class, perhaps. And really what I mean by this inventory is we need to better understand the true movement of inventory. How do I convert, a liability to an asset? It's by understanding the true movement of inventory in and out of my store. And a lot of retailers lack this clear understanding of how customers truly shop. Too often, we're misguided and live in the world of brand and vendor rather than category or classification in our store. And customers actually buy within classes of products in our stores, right? Regardless of the vertical that you're in, customers buy in classes. Classes are made up of products that are bought and sold on a similar curve. They buy outfits, they buy furniture, they buy appliances, they buy equipment, they buy toys, they buy toys, they buy tools, they buy classes of merchandise. That's how they shop. We have to also think this way, right? And not just think this way, but make every single buying decision, inventory, not just buying, but every single inventory decision from this perspective, the power of category or class. Brands and vendors live within these classifications in your store. And to the degree that you can create multiple businesses in your store, you will grow business. You will get better, right? Demand, meaning sales forecast, and our buy, the provision of inventory, is measured by class, not by vendor and brand alone anymore. We have to think about how much do I invest in fryers to get X out in sales. Vendors are bought within these categories, and we'll talk about that as we look at buying. Before we get to buyers, let's go to step 9. We'll take a second for you to gather a couple of questions, and then we're going to move on to step number 9, which is market time. Market time. Markets are back in some form. Obviously, I'm missing my first one of 2022. But I'm going to say this: the most fun, and sometimes daunting aspects of a retailer's life is going to market. And while there's obviously going to be some slight changes and some adaptation that has to happen, markets for the most part are back, and you need to be there. More than being there, you need to be ready for market. And by ready, I mean prepared. Know what you're looking for. Know how much you need to spend. Know before you go what you want to get out of going to market. Set those targets before you step foot on the buying floor or on a plane or in your car to go to market. Commit to spending as much time with vendors you don't know as with those you do know. Many years ago, I'm going to make reference to this probably a couple of times in this presentation, but many years ago, not that many, I guess I'm not that old. I was a buyer for a large furniture chain. And my inventory coach, his name was Lee Rochelle. I was maybe a bit of a young buck, but Lee used to say to me, Dan, you got to go to market and you got to get education, inspiration, and augmentation out of it. And I'm, Lee, you got to help me here. I don't understand. And he said, and it holds true today, 20 years later, every single market you go to has educational opportunity. And as we talked about in professional development, education is a critical component. And when you're at market, you're surrounded by your peers. Markets tend to assemble retail experts to share messaging with you, to share education, to share the latest and greatest. You've got to educate yourself at market. It's a great opportunity. You've got to go to market to get inspiration. You've got to walk the floor and be re-inspired about retail. Look at the way things are displayed and bring that level of inspiration and excitement back to your stores. And then augmentation. Lee used to say to me, you got to augment the business, and you do that at market. You do that by spending money with people you don't know. You augment your business by adding some more products and by testing merchandise, which really is a bit of a segue for us into step number 10, buyers. So before I leave step number 9, just remember this: the 3 most important takeaways for every market: education, inspiration, and augmentation. I hope you find something that's educational this week. I hope you're inspired to leave here. And I certainly hope you've had the ability to augment your business by buying at market today. Let's give you 1 minute here to grab some questions, and then we're going to move on to step number 10. Step number 10 is all about buyers. Let's stay on this market theme, this sort of inventory theme. How do buyers go from good to great? Wow, how do buyers get from good to great? How do you know if you're a good buyer or a great buyer? I mean, what makes a great buyer? What gives buyers the confidence to succeed, to be successful? Well, it's 4 key things for me. Number 1, they build their budgets by classification, and they allocate spending to vendors as they rank in the store. Constantly, I can't impress this enough, constantly testing new merchandise. I want you to think about these great brands that you're going to see this week as you're here at market. I want you to think about those brands and how they got their start. They got their start by an independent retailer taking a chance. That means that you've got to be testing. You've got to be giving new brands a chance in your store. And you should be testing somewhere between 15 and 25% of your open to buy dollar, your market budget, to someone or something you've not carried before, to something that you can test in your stores. Number 2, great buyers know their customers, and they see themselves as personal shoppers. Personal shoppers that are looking to fulfill these predetermined needs and wants of the customer. They don't buy for themselves, they buy for the customer. They buy what she likes, not what they like. They never say, what's wrong with her? They always self-reflect. They fail fast. Hey, I thought she'd like it. I tried it. She didn't. I've got to move on. I got to turn it back into cash so I can buy more of what she loves. Number 3, a good buyer to a great buyer, they are prepared for every single vendor, brand, or representative meeting. They know their key metrics: sell-through, turn, maintain margin, and most importantly, cash margin. Let's pause for a second on these metrics. What is sell-through? Most people like to measure sell-through at the number of items I bought against the number of items I sold. I don't think about it that way. I'm a bit of a cash monger. I like to think about it as, this is how much I invested in inventory, and this is how well I sold through that inventory. So I'm going to take this metric. I'm going to say, what did I sell in the last 90 days divided by what I bought in the last 90 days. And if it's in that 75 to 85% neighborhood, good pat on the back, and I'm moving forward. If it's more or less, I've got issues in buying. All right. Sell through. Good buyers, great buyers know their sell through by the dollar. They know turn, And they know the faster they turn inventory, think about this, the faster the turn. Think a bicycle tire going through a puddle, a car going through a puddle. The faster we turn through that puddle, the bigger the spray is, right? Well, that spray is cash flow. Get your inventory turning. They know, great buyers know how to turn merchandise. They know how to buy just enough to continue turning over merchandise, right? They have some good emphasis on on maintained margin. They know what their maintained margins are at every category, in every category. And then lastly, most importantly, as I said, is cash margin. Cash margin. How do I define cash margin? Cash margin are the dollars created in your store that pay your rent, right? It's the dollars generated in your store beyond your vendor payables. The math is the simplest math in retail. Sales minus how much I bought equals cash margin. Sales minus the cost of my inventory, how much I spent on it, equals my cash margin. Cash margin are the dollars I use to pay my operating expense and my profitability. Let's do it like this. Take $1,000 in sales. Let's do this math together. I keep myself focused here. $1,000 in sales minus the cost of my inventory, how much I spent on it. Let's say that I bought $400 at cost. So 1,000 minus 400 leaves me with 600. I then take away my operating expense. Let's call it 40% of my revenue, another $400, and then I'm left with $200. Well, that's my profitability, right? That cash profit is what's left over. The cash margin are the dollars I use to pay my operating expenses and my profitability, right? If you live in a profit first world, you'll know how important cash margin is. It's how I pay my expenses and how I pay profitability in my store. So great buyers really hone in on these four metrics: sell-through, turn, margin, maintain margin, and cash margin. And then lastly, number four, they are great negotiators. They focus on terms, co-op dollars, markdown dollars, and vendor discounting. They focus on this stuff, right? They're good negotiators. And they use a vendor scorecard. If you don't have a vendor scorecard in your business today, and you want one, just send an email to dan@thewealthyretailer.com. Mention the Gourmet Catalog Buying Group, and I will send you 2 versions of a vendor scorecard that allows you to identify your A, B, and C vendors on these metrics and a couple more that are more relational driven. Again, if you need a vendor scorecard, just fire an email off to dan@thewealthyretailer.com. All right, let's get ready to move on to step number 11. Oh boy, we're almost there. All right, step number 11. Stick with me on the inventory. Let's talk about worth-based pricing. Worth-based pricing. What do I mean? I mean, inflation is upon us and we got to price up. We've got to start placing real value on our inventory, right? Costs are on the rise significantly in some verticals. And we've got to pay close attention to our landed costs, especially on our new goods. What lands in your store tomorrow may cost you more than it did yesterday. And you've got to take this opportunity to revisit your pricing structure and strategy. I mean, you've got to inch your prices up. Just $1 on every item in your store makes for a way better vacation. I want you to think about this, placing real value on inventory. We've got to start to think in terms of retail dollars. That's what we want her to spend. Too often, we focus our energy on the cost of an item. And I get engaged with retailers that have this pushback with me. Yeah, but my cost is only $20. I don't care if it's $20 or $200. It's what she sees it that determines its value, right? It's not what you paid for it. It's what she pays for it. You've got to ask yourself regularly, what will my customer pay for this? And then price it that way. And remember that margin dollars come from selling items, not pricing them. And, you know, if it's worth a 40% margin, so be it. Turn it more to generate margin dollars. That's what we put in the bank, not margin percentage. Right? Focus energy on pricing goods for what she thinks they're worth, what she sees them worth. I'll give you another example here as we talk about maybe my history in buying. I'd come home from market and buy, 7 figures worth of accessories and to fulfill our stores. We were about a $55 million store at the time. We come back and we will have bought a ton of accessories. Well, we started by unpacking those accessories in the warehouse and then bringing staff over from the stores, the sales managers and the merchandiser, the merchandise assistants, maybe a salesperson or two. I give them yellow stickies and say, okay, guys, do me a favor, go and price all these accessories for me. Not how much did I pay for them, and now let's mark them up 2.2 times or 3 times. It's how much do you think they're worth? And I'll tell you what, we uncovered some big wins and some not so good wins. There were days when I was a pretty good buyer and days that I was not a good buyer. There would be lamps that I paid $19 for that they'd put a $119 price tag on them. And, if I was using a normal 2 times 2 markup, I'd have been selling those lamps for $44 instead of $109 or $99. I always maintained a value on how she saw it. I lean hard on the philosophy of price in the store. I know that something will sell better at $99 than it does at $109. I know that $20 is the same as $14 to her. I know that $31 is $39. It's the same. It still takes 2 $20 bills to pay for it. So I would apply this sort of pricing philosophy onto where my team saw value in the goods. And I always made out a little better by allowing them to tell me what they thought they were worth. Listen, I'm not going to say there's no failures in this. There were times that my staff would price something at $100 that I paid $100 for. Well, that was a demonstration of perhaps not a great buy. And it meant that I leaned hard on fail fast. I thought that it was going to be worth $250. They see it as, $150. I'm going to price it that way and move on. And I'm going to fail fast. And this is what worth-based pricing really allows us to do. It allows us to fail fast. We bring something in the store. Let's go back to being a good buyer, a great buyer. We test something, we bring it in the store, we let it live for its first cycle. In your store, that might be 30 days. And we're going to say, hey, listen, if it doesn't sell through at 50% in the first 30 days, I've got to revisit this. Is it viable products for me? If it did sell through in less than 30, 50% of it in less than 30, maybe I should have bought more. Maybe there's more opportunity here. And you've got to remember the 3 Ps in worth-based pricing, not just worth-based pricing, but the 3 Ps in merchandising success. It's product, price, and placement, or product, price, and presentation. I've got to have the right product, priced the right way, and presented the right way to find success. Fail on any one of those Ps and you have idle inventory. Get them right and inventory turns faster and faster and faster. The right product for the right price presented the right way to her sells like it just turns, and it generates cash. Decent segue to step number 12, cash flow. And I'm going to say that cash versus profit needs to be something that we master this year. This is imperative. There's a big difference between cash and profitability. The true definition of profitability in retail does not come from measuring MMU or net income before tax or earnings before interest, tax, and adjustments, or any other crazy acronym that you've come to learn. It comes from cash, and cash flow in your business comes from having the right inventory in the right class at the right time, the right amount of inventory at the right time. And then we grow profitable sales in every classification in your store. I treat each one of those categories or classifications like it's its own mini business in my store. Each category of inventory, each category of merchandise has an obligation to pay its contribution to operating expense and profitability. I focus on the category or the class, and I drive profitable sales at the class level, not the store level. My store sales volume is made up of the 30 classes of merchandise, that I carry in the store. Right? Cash is king and cash flow is our queen. We measure every single investment made in our store on the cash it creates. You've got to create good cash flow, not good profitability. And the difference between cash and profit your accountant tells you whether you're profitable or not, right? He tells you what you're going to pay tax on. He measures the cost of only the goods you sold, not the goods you bought. In my world, cash profitability comes from the measurement of what I bought, not just what I sold. It is sales, I'll repeat myself, sales minus how much I spent on inventory, minus my operating expense equals my cash profit. The 12 steps to a prosperous 2022. Again, we're going to do an open Q&A. If you've got questions, you can send them off to dan@thewealthyretailer.com. I'll answer them as we roll through the live Q&A. If we don't get them to the live Q&A, I will absolutely answer them personally to you, dan@thewealthyretailer.com. As I said, if you're a podcast listener, go check out the Wealthy Retailer podcast. We've got a new episode there every single week. And then lastly, socially, you can find me, Dan Holman, by searching The Wealthy Retailer on all your social platforms, or Retail by CRS or Canadian Retail Solutions. You're going to find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, blah, 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 all of those places. And the team is always putting out a ton of great information. Thank you again to Janice and the team for having me virtually. I am so sorry, retailers, that I'm not standing there in front of you. I know this would have been a much more enlightening presentation, certainly probably more entertaining, and maybe even a bit more educational in person. But we're doing the best we can through these crazy, crazy times. Again, Dan Holman, thewealthyretailer.com for all your needs or questions. And I will talk to you again soon. Happy retailing.